Thank you very much. I am the chairman of the Interinstitutional Working Group on Information Systems and Project Management Offices. So who am I is no interest at all. The only thing that you know is that I will not use I anymore, but we. We are a group of people coming from all the institutions. We are working together based on a recommendation from the CII that tells us 2 years ago to change the way we worked from a platform of exchange between colleagues, that was extremely nice, to a project mode. So being able to work all together to have some objectives and to be able to change the way we are working. And how did we address that? We started from some of the challenges we have. And we said, well, what are the main difficulties we encounter when we are working? We really have to maximize resource efficiency, because one of the problems that we will not have resources in addition of the one we have anymore. That's done. And we will see that the next election is about to come. Member states are really willing to get more and more money back for the countries, and this will not be in the favor of the administration at all. So the money we have was the tipping point. Now we will have less, and we have to work differently in order to be able to provide some application or some solution. We need to reduce the time to market. We cannot say, except in some very huge projects, that we will not deliver applications within 1, 2, or 3 years. That's down. We have to react faster. Try to go to Frontex and to say that they have to manage a huge deployment of forces and they will have 2 years to wait in order to have a brand new application system. They would answer that in 3 months it has to be set up for all the member states. So it's useless. So we have to reduce the time to market, deliver faster. We have to facilitate decision making. We need to industrialize the processes which are related to the provisioning of solutions to our business. It's not to be one by one, it has to be replicated. We need to be more innovative, and we need to benefit from the culture of collaboration from all institutions. This is a key point. If we don't have that, we'll not survive, not our institutions. So we really need to change the way that we work, and we need to share and work on enterprise architecture competencies. This is exactly the point of the previous presentation. E-delivery, produced by the Commission, reused by the Council. That's what we want. That's one of the scenarios that we want to push for. So these are the challenges we have to face. How do we address that? We address that through enterprise architecture. And this is quite classical. It comes from the literature about enterprise architecture. What do we want to do? Is basically better planning, earlier visibility, and more informed designs. That's what we are talking about. And about enterprise architecture, we are addressing it through 4 different layers: business layer, application layer, technology layer, data layer. And that's how we address it. And where do we start? We start from the business. This is the highest level. We start from the business because IT does not exist by itself. We do not exist by ourselves. We are there to support our business. In the Court of Auditors, you are there to support people who are making audits. In the Parliament, to support people making laws. In the Court of Justice, people who are applying the law. So we are all there to serve our internal business, and this is the business layer. We have 3 different categories. The steering, how do we work? The core function, why do we work? And the supporting function, what are the necessary capabilities to execute our core function? And for the supporting functions, you will find finance, human capital, logistics, audit sometimes, not as your core business, but as a facility, and IT. And there we see a huge brand of interest in order to work on these domains. Core business is what makes you unique in the world. So it's unlikely that we will be able to share a lot of things. But supporting function, yes, of course. The second one is application. When we want to automate part of processes, we need to work on applications that will be delivered. And this one could be composed by elements that will be shared or that will be reused. Sometimes we buy them, and sometimes we will have to build them. The technologies is something that we will address later on. It's not currently the focus of the working group, while we are working more on business and application, and then at the end, data. Fostering collaboration was one of the dimensions. So how to address at the interinstitutional level this question of enterprise architecture, starting from the top, meaning the business layer, or to describe the organization of all the institutions so that we can make joint agreement and we can improve the governance and the relationship between business and IT on how to work. And there we have created an interinstitutional central repository where we can all share and aggregate our views on the business map, meaning the business organization of our institutions. If you want to know more, there's a point number 2 downstairs. Go there, you will have more information on how it works. And what we want to sustain through this approach by being able to identify the common businesses, the common domains that we could work on is a simple principle. First, if something has already done what you are currently doing, share the same option. Don't reinvent the wheel. There's no need for that. You have no money for that. You don't have time for that. E-delivery was existing. The council didn't really develop it. They just use it. For the trilogue table that we have seen before on the first presentation, the council didn't really develop everything. We already had the system in the parliament. We just did it together. That's exactly the same principle. Share the solution if you have them. Reuse them. If they're already existing somewhere, maybe you cannot access this one for legal reasons, organizational reasons, technological reasons, but maybe you can copy them and reuse exactly the same principle, and that's the second step. If you can't, look at the market. Maybe that the market is already providing a solution for the change you want to introduce. And then, if nothing of that could be applied, in this case, you can build your own solution. But then you may have to justify why you want to build them. For the core functions, maybe it's quite natural. For some support functions, you have to define why your internal rules make you so specific that you have to build it yourself. So this basic IT principle is something that we are using in our everyday life. You've got the climate change and how to fight the climate change. It's also taking public transport. We are sharing the transports, or we are making car sharing. So why is it so easy in our everyday life that we are able to fight against these kind of things and we do not apply it for our business activities? It's extremely simple. It's just a mindset to change. How did we do that? We do that through 3 categories I was mentioning before: steering, core, supporting. And jointly with all institutions, and currently the 7 institutions who have declared their application, together we have registered 1,200 applications on the platform in order to bridge them with the different categories and the different business domains that we are able to search for. And the point is behind, if I want to introduce a business change, what I start to do first is to look for my business domain, check what already exists, and see if something which is pre-existing can help me by introducing my change. And this is where we need you. We are not there to introduce our problematics. We are not there to inform you about what we are doing. We are there to recruit you, because we cannot do it by ourselves. We can only do it if together the business and IT are working together in a trust relationship where we can adjust the business requirements on one side and the solution capabilities on the other one. Maybe all the scope will not be covered, but are they really necessary? This is a joint approach that we need to have, and we cannot do it without you. Focusing on the supporting category. The core functions are related to the laws, are related to the rules, and we all have our ones, and this is the existence of our institution. But the supporting function, logistics, we are all having buildings. We are all buying buildings. We are all renting buildings. When you are in Brussels, when you are in Luxembourg, what is the difference between the Commission in Luxembourg and the Parliament in Luxembourg? What is the difference between the Council in Brussels and the Commission in Brussels? These are just the same laws. So why should we look for different solutions? We could have the same. This is just the example of logistics. Security is the same. IT is the same. We have data centers. We, collectively. All of us. So should we be able to share some infrastructure? to reuse some infrastructure, or do we have to rebuild permanently things ourselves? So that's what are the questions behind. So how to, in an agile mode, support disruptive innovation? This is by going to the other one, checking what they already have, and then trying to endorse them. And this is the central point. So do we have to change? And the answer is yes. We do have to change, because we will never have again the resources we had. And if you want to change, you need resources. How could we change? This is the purpose of enterprise architecture and fostering collaboration, because together we can do it. So are there ways that we can change? This is a positive yes, we can change. But there's only one question for which we do not have an answer, is will we change? Because to change, we need both the business and IT, because IT cannot do it everything by itself. This is not possible. And this is where we do not have the answer. And this is why we need you. And this is exactly what was said this morning during the keynote. We don't need administrators. We don't need assistants. We need activists. We need you to move. We want you to move to help IT to deliver faster the solutions for the business and to support the change. So this is a working group. This is a we are. And these are all the persons that are working since 2 years in order to set up this platform, to try to work together to fix these business domains, to describe them, to negotiate on them. Now we have more than 65% of the business map which is already declared, agreed among the institutions, and by which we are mapping the application from the application layer to the business layer, and then we are describing also the capacity to reuse and to share these solutions, because these one have to be made by design. It's extremely important. You do not decide to share a system when the system is done. You do it by design initially. And examples of these cases, you have seen them from the beginning. We have seen them with a Trilog editor, that's a share function. We have seen them with e-delivery as a building block. That's also a share opportunity. And I have with me a colleague who has another opportunity, which is a reuse opportunity. So I will give him the floor for 1 minute, and he will tell you what was the necessity of the change he had, how he discovered the solution, and what is the benefit that he got from the solution.
Well, thank you. Actually, my core business is to organize staff selection procedures, so I'm in HR. So far, we run all our procedures based on paper, and we wanted to go electronic. So we need a tool that enables candidates to apply online to our procedures, to enable us to manage, process the applications, and to also manage all the communication between us, the Parliament, and the candidates. So we have heard that the Code of Auditors actually had purchased a tool that offered those solutions, and we went to visit them. So we thought at that time, and we're still convinced, that this tool will offer what we are looking for. The tool should go live in January. We have delayed because of new legal constraints that came to us suddenly. So the outcome and the benefit we'll have is first that our practices will be in line with 21st century practices, and improve the image of the Parliament as an employer, that we are more in line with the legal requirements that we have, mainly as it comes to the communication with the candidates, and then to reduce by 20 to 30% the administrative burden in our daily tasks.
Thanks a lot. So this is a case where we had to introduce a change in the human capital domain. So what did they do? We heard, and that's what we want to change. We want to change the heard from a structural practice that we implement and that we repeat. So they heard that colleagues were doing exactly the same job in the Court of Auditors, and they had the solution. They went there, they saw the solution, and they reused it. This is not exactly the same. This is a similar platform that they are reusing it. And then the Commission had also the same case. And what did they do? They also talked together, and now they're on the way to reuse exactly the same solution. So there was one problem, someone solved it, the other one was similar, why not reusing the same? And that's what they did. As a result, they went faster. They were able to deliver solution, they gained time, we could say that they gained money, and they were able to deliver. And that's what the case, these are the type of cases that we want to reproduce more and more. To do that, we need to have a joint governance between IT and business on these domains to elaborate the solution together. This is the end of IT on one side at the cave and the business on the sun on the other side. They are all together on Earth, co-responsible on the change. This is valid also for the institution. We need to have co-responsibility all together. If I provide you a service as an institution, fair enough. Then in this case, we share together the responsibility. This is not one who is imposing on the other one, is proposing a service. And this was the massive success of the trilogue editor between the Council and the Parliament. It was co-shared. They are sitting there together, they work together, they share together on the same foot. And this is how it should work. So, in the name of the working group, thank you very much. Keep this in mind. Please become activists, represent ourselves in your institution, come back to us, come back to the colleagues who are involved in the working group, and let's make it real together. Thank you.